Tidy whiteboards. Clean whiteboard is a happy whiteboard.
That is true.
Right, that's the best one to do.
Yeah, I think I'm live. We're live. Look, there we are.
Okay, right.
So where am I? Here it is. Hello, anyone? Can you hear me? Can we have some sort of like? Please give us a like if you can hear. Don't like it. Right, you're going to monitor. You're going to monitor this. Very important job. Will they just ping up on there, will they?
I think.
I'll measure that because it's going to. Okay. Note to self: don't hum.
Comments will appear.
Okay, right. I think we're live. So, hello everyone. Welcome to Wearing's Fitness. I am Coach Finn Price, and this is Hayden, who's one of my coaches here. And we're going to go through our setting your mindset up for success slides. These slides we go through with all our new members. One of the biggest issues that actually many of our members face is, or many new people face when they're starting fitness, is getting their head into the right frame of mind to be successful. So many people jumping on the fitness wagon, falling off. What do you say?
Yes. I mean, what is it? Average 5 sessions and someone will drop.
Well, not here.
Not here though. But you would say.
Is that real average?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
nice.
it is.
So yeah, so I mean, I personally, before when I've been trying to get fit, have definitely fallen on and off the fitness wagon many times. One reason being my own mindset, and then secondly, just being injured. So there's definitely a lot of mind games that go on in our head. So hopefully, once you got to the end of this presentation, you'll have a good idea of what's going on in your mind. And some tools that you can actually use to help yourself get set up for success. I have been training for an Ironman, so I've been using these, in that, because obviously that's so to me, that is the peak of physical performance, is being able to complete an Ironman, or it's up there anyway. And I personally didn't ever think I would be able to do that because I was very unfit. I used to smoke, I used to drink, and despite having a background in the military, I still wasn't actually that fit. So, going to do an Ironman for me was a massive step. And I haven't actually been able to do it because I think it's going to be cancelled, unfortunately. But I've done all the training, and I think deep down I know I could do it. I'm sort of at the end of my training now, so we've got a few weeks to find out whether it happens or not. So we shall see. If you've got any questions, then please comment on the box there. How's your sparkly bike? Hi, Elaine. Yes, my sparkly bike is bloody awesome.
It's not sparkly at the moment, is it?
No, it's not. It needs to clean, but it does make it go faster having sparkles on the bike. That is a real thing. So there we go. Okay, right. So we're going to go in, and hopefully you can see the slides here. We're going to start off with no excuses, which is kind of a bit of a tagline that we've had since we started, and it's not. It's not something up there to sound harsh or anything like that. It's up there for a really good reason. And I'll explain why those things are. We're going to go through fixed and growth mindset and what that actually is. Affirmations, which is kind of like a story that we tell ourselves in our mind about who we are and how that can affect our fitness. Law of attraction, which is a bit kind of out there on the spiritual side of things, but I personally have used it and believe that it works very well. There's a sort of scientific way of explaining why that works, and the more spiritual side. Setting a vision, how to set a vision, like what do you want to achieve in the future? Where do you want to be in a year? Where do you want to be in a month? Where do you want to be in 20 years? And then setting goals that actually matter to you. We're also going to touch on the fact that everyone is a big stress pot, including you.
Yep, everyone.
Including me. So we're all big stress pots, and how to manage your mental health. I know that other people have talked about mental health today, so I won't go too much into it. But obviously, it's very much related to your fitness. This is such an important session that we do with all our clients. And we actually realised that all the members who came back to us after lockdown had the mindset coaching, whereas a lot of people who had not come back had not had it.
Yeah.
We sort of realised that. So because they're able to manage this stuff and because they've got the tools, they can look after their fitness and their health. Is there any comments on that? Good. People are watching. Good. 2 people watching. This is amazing.
Fantastic.
3 people. Okay, and then it's owning everything and building your process. Your process is basically your habits, so the good habits and the bad habits that you have every day. And by the end of this session, or by the end of the session that we do with all our clients anyway, we give them 5 things to take away, 5 areas of control that they can take. What they can own, basically. They can own their process. Okay, so we're going to start off, hopefully. No, we're not. There we go. So this is like the first thing that we ask people is we go through a few questions with them in our welcome pack, and we start off asking them things like, what's your first thought when someone says fitness? And typically we'll get back, either a positive vibe or a negative vibe. So it could be fun, good, like healthy or whatever. Just like what is up in your subconscious around the word fitness. It could be like this person here said effort, reward, toned and honed, and well-being. So there's a fairly positive thing that they've said about fitness, but sometimes it can be quite negative. So sometimes it can be hard work, effort, pain, faff, those sorts of things. And so obviously there's some barriers up in their head around what that might be. Then I'll ask, do you like fitness? And this person's responded, I don't like it, but I wouldn't choose to do it. So it's kind of interesting. I don't dislike it, but I wouldn't choose to do it. So there's obviously some conflict going on upstairs. Someone may respond that they do like it, and that kind of is good, but they find it hard. And then the key question really is, are you a fitness person? And if you're like, yes, I'm a fitness person, usually fitness will be quite easy for you. So if I was to ask you, are you a fitness person?
Yes.
You're a yes. But if I was asked to someone who is new to the gym, who never really is a gym, people say, I'm not really a gym person, I'm not really this sort of person, then it's going to be very conflicting in their minds for them when they want to come and do fitness. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense to you. Hopefully it makes sense to everybody else. So if someone says that they are a runner, for example, then going for a run is something that is kind of part of their story, it's part of their mind. So running is much more easier for them. Whereas for me personally, if you'd asked me a year ago, am I a runner? I'd probably said, no, I'm not a runner. Whereas now I am a runner because I've changed that in my mind. Yeah. I could run, but I never really liked it. Whereas now I actually enjoy running, which is weird. I never thought I'd say that a year ago. And for me, like doing the Ironman, it wasn't like I needed to get that into my psyche from the start. Like I'm an Ironman now. I'm not doing a triathlon. I'm an Ironman. That's very different to just doing a triathlon. So I had to get that into my head for Ironman. But if you're just thinking about general fitness, if you're not a gym person, going to the gym is going to be really tough. And all it is, like, what is a fitness person? There is no right or wrong answer. Like, what do you think a fitness person is?
Someone who enjoys fitness and finds it like trouble.
Yeah. And that's generally what sort of response we would get, like somebody who enjoys fitness. And so the next question is, do you want to be that person? Do you want to be someone who can enjoy fitness? And usually the answer is yes, like, because you want to get fit. That's why you're here. So once you can get that into your head, then things get a lot easier.
Lucy Armstrong was watching.
Hello, Lucy Armstrong. Oh, it's chocolates. Yeah, I like chocolates.
Vegan chocolates, obviously.
Yeah. So back to this: never complain, never whine, and never make excuses. The reason that this is like our thing is because this is a place where people come to improve themselves. And if you come in and everyone's whinging, they're all complaining, then it spreads and multiplies in a group, and it's not then a nice place to come into. So that was really the first reason that I had this as when I started from the very start, because in a group, especially as a coach, like it's hard work listening to people whinging and complaining.
It's true. As soon as one person would drop their heads, it's very easy for everyone else to easily follow on and do it. So we even say in the class, smile. Smile. Make your body trick your body and believe in it, and you enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's better.
So that was the main. That was the sort of first reason, and then the second reason is what I realised is that it gives us reasons not to become better. It gives us reasons. We cheat ourselves out of becoming better people. So, for so long I thought Ironman was freaking amazing, but I couldn't do it. Because I didn't have time. I didn't have, whatever. I'm not naturally good at this, or I just made excuses for the fact that I couldn't do it, even though I wanted to do it. And just because it's an Ironman and it's maybe a higher level than what most people are aiming at, even if it's just becoming fit, most people, I can't do a handstand, I can't do this, I can't even get to the gym because I haven't got time, I haven't got this, I haven't got that. Well, those are excuses, right? Because the most busy person in the world can still get to the gym or still make time for exercise 2-3 hours a week. That's reality. And because it gives you so much more reward than perhaps what you realize. And if you don't have time, if you want more energy, go and train and you'll have more energy. I have more energy now and I'm training 15 hours a week than I've ever had in my life. And it's insane. It's crazy. So the other reason that we don't want to make this a habit is because the focus is then on the negative. So our brain chemistry actually turns negative, leading to things, if it becomes a habit, you are in a negative frame of mind. And so quite simply, the opposite way, the easiest way to being a bit more positive is just to get out of the habit of complaining and get out of the habit of making excuses and whining. And that's quite simply it.
I never complain about the heat. No, I always say I love the heat.
Yeah.
Even though I don't get any sleep at night, I love it.
Yeah. Or people go on holiday, right? Exactly. And we're living in a place, where people complain a lot about the traffic. We live in the Midlands, but people at the end of the day, we live here, and people drive down here to be here. And so why are we complaining about something which, is ridiculous? We live here.
Best place in England.
Best place in
the world.
Yeah, absolutely, with the best gym. So my question is now, what do you make excuses for? What do you complain or what do you whine about? Is it serving you? Probably it isn't, and what we do also is we give our members a band. So you can kind of flick it or you can change hands, whatever, suits you, to get out of the habit. And this is something that I didn't actually use this when I quit smoking, but it's something from quitting smoking. So every time you want a cigarette, you ping the band and it's supposed to, interrupt the thought process of wanting a cigarette. So that's where it comes from, and it can be used for any habit that you want to crush, basically. So that's the first hurdle to overcome, or first thing to be. It's not a hurdle to overcome. It's just really all of this is an awareness exercise. Once you're aware of something, you can kind of make a difference about it. The next thing we're going to talk about is fixed and growth mindset. So this is really important because if somebody comes in and they're fixed in their mindset, or someone's listening to this and they're fixed in their mindset, they were born a certain way, that's just the way you are, be it good or bad, then it can be really difficult to become a better person, which is why you've come to the gym in the first place. So what we want to do is develop this thing called a growth mindset. And so a growth mindset, it means that you are able to grow. So, are you born with a certain amount of intelligence? That's a belief.
I think I was fixed on that.
Yeah, I was fixed on it too, for a long time, definitely. But, it's not necessarily true. But what happens at school, how many tests, you've been diagnosed with dyslexia, right?
Yeah,
you have. So when you were younger, you were told you are this clever because you've got dyslexia, right?
Yeah.
So that you're pigeonholed into these boxes. I did an IQ test when I joined the army, and I didn't actually score as high as I was supposed to. So I could have thought, at the time, that's me. That's my cleverness score. Done.
Right.
And I can't get clever.
That's your brain capacity or something like that.
Can't speak properly.
Get clever.
Can't get cleverer. Can't get more clever. But so we're pigeonholed into these areas, and whether or not I remember thinking at the time, this is just rubbish, because if I practice this test, I would have got better at it. So it's not a measure of my intelligence to, you know, this test is not a measure of my intelligence.
Yeah.
It's just maybe a measure at the time, but it's not a fixed thing. And that goes with everything else. So that goes with our physical abilities. Like, yes, genetics play a part. Like, if you're tall, you can probably, you know, reach something higher, you know, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be a great basketball player or a great swimmer just because you're tall. You've still got to put in the hours. You've still got to practice. And any sportsman who is a good, you know, elite sportsman will laugh at the fact that they were born with any kind of abilities that made them good. You know, yes, there might be a genetic factor that gave them an edge, but it does not make them the best in the world. It doesn't make them even good, to be honest. What makes people good is practice, and that applies for your fitness. So there's a little quiz you can do. This research is based it's based on some research by a lady called Carol Dweck, D-W-E-C-K. And you can actually, I'll click on the link so you can see the quiz. It basically just asks you a bunch of questions. There's the name if you want to do any more research on this. Basically, this is kind of the first thing you need to get over in your mind. So if you genuinely believe any of the following things on here that would force you down onto so this is like a sliding scale down here. So once you answer the questions, it's going to slide you one way or the other, basically. So we'd go through all of those. So you may have a fixed mindset. Have a look at some of these videos. You know, there's a really good TED talk here by Carol Dweck, where she explains her research, and basically the children who had a growth mindset younger were way more successful than those who had a fixed mindset. You can also be fixed in the fact that you're clever or you're intelligent. So then what happens is when someone surpasses you, you don't know how to deal with it. So, you know, if you've been told you're the best, and suddenly someone's better than you, that can be very demotivating. And you cannot get better because you're already the best. You're the best that you could be, that's it. So you can't get better anymore. So that can also be a fixed mindset, which may seem to serve you, but not necessarily. So we go through that, and obviously then we kind of challenge the beliefs. The book I always recommend here is You Are Awesome by Matthew Said. He talks about fixed and growth mindset a lot. He's a table tennis player sort of like from a very average place in the UK, but was able to basically get practice and get better at table tennis, and eventually was an Olympic champion. So it's really good. So we'll go through that. We'll kind of go, do you think you're fixed? Do you think you're a fitness person? Do you think you were born to be unfit? Do you think you were born to be, not a runner? Like, how ridiculous is that? How many people believe it though?
Everyone probably.
Human evolution is all about running. We evolved to run. That is, everything about the human body is about running. Millions and millions of years of running, and then we reckon in what?
100 years?
Yeah, maybe 100, 200, 300 years. A civilization has taken hold of us. We now think we're not runners anymore. When, it's actually a very, very natural thing to be able to run, for example. And I think the more, I've been training a lot more than average, but the more I've been training and going long distance, I feel that it's very natural for us to do that. I think we need to work hard. Our body and our minds really need it. So, challenge what those things you think, especially if there's something you want to do. So, take the quiz. Is there anything you'd like to do but you think you can't? Why do you think that is? Do you think you were born a certain way? Is it true? So affirmations. So this is just what you think about yourself. We would have already kind of covered it in your mindset questions here. So you've, mainly around fitness. You can go into this in lots of different areas, obviously. You could apply any of this stuff to any other area of your life, but since we're a gym, we tend to talk about fitness. So what do you think about yourself fitness wise? Then we start to realize, maybe I'm, this unfit person. And what we have is this subconscious and conscious mind. So in our subconscious mind, 80% of what we know is up there. 80% of what we do in a day is because of our subconscious mind. So most people will drive to a place, they don't really remember it. And that's because their subconscious mind has logged it all and just drove them to where they need to be.
Scary when that happens.
Yeah. But that's kind of how we need that, because we need that to survive. You can't consciously take in all the information around you at one time. It's impossible. So you have the subconscious to be able to do that. Now, so if up in your subconscious mind, you have an affirmation, which is, I'm not a gym person, I'm not a runner, I'm not a fitness person, I'm just not that, I'm fat, I'm lazy. Like, that is going around and around and around in your subconscious mind, and it is not serving you. So those are the things you need to be aware of, and then kind of insert a better affirmation. We want a better thing up there. We want, like, I can do this, I am a fitness person, because what is a fitness person? Someone who enjoys it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I enjoy fitness, that's it. Like, most people enjoy some sort of sport, that is a fitness thing.
Yeah, and you enjoy sport, you get to that, you change your subconscious mind by thinking otherwise, isn't it?
Yeah. Sorry about that.
It's going to sound
So the goal is basically, we want a subconscious mind that serves us. We don't want one that's like, I'm a rubbish person, I'm this, I'm that, because it's going to lead to mental health problems, basically, and it's not going to lead to you getting fitter. Okay, so all of that, why it's important. What you think determines how you feel, determines how you act. And obviously, as one of my clients pointed out the other day, she's a brain neurologist or something, so she was all over all this stuff. It's not actually as linear as what I've presented it there. It's more of a circular thing, because obviously you act in a certain way, and then you will think about yourself or feel about how you've acted.
Yeah.
And then it repeats the cycle. So this is really a circle, not in a linear way. So we have a thought, and it could start with, I'm ugly, I'm bad, I'm shit. Okay. You could have inserted that thought, or somebody else could have inserted that into your mind. What that leads to is you're feeling low, self-esteem, less confidence, depression, anxiety. And then the actions are avoiding social situations, not treating yourself well, possibly comfort eating. That is why we do those things. That's why we turn to drugs and things like that, because our feelings are really, really strong. So, and why we have the feelings is because of our thoughts in the first place. Those thoughts are the affirmations. So if we can change the affirmations, we're going to feel much better, and we're going to act much better. It's all very easy to say, just do this, just do that. But if you feel like having beer, it's very hard to not have the beer.
Yes.
Right? If you feel like a packet of chips, you're going to go and have a packet of chips, most likely. It's quite difficult. Why are you smiling?
Because you're American.
What?
Packet of chips?
No, like chips on the beach.
Who's that in packet?
Packet of chips.
Bag of chips.
Bag of chips, sorry. So if you can think more positively, and I know I'm going to talk about how you can actually do that, because people say just be positive, but how you actually do that there is a way. So you're like, I'm good at this, I can do this, I like this, I'm grateful for. The gratitude is actually the thing that is the most powerful, and that can give you more confidence. You feel better about yourself, you've got higher self-esteem, and then you act in a better way, and then that cycle repeats itself. You feel good about how you act is, or you think, yeah, that was good, and then you feel good. So it's all, it's a bit of a cycle. So like it says down the bottom there, it's practice. It doesn't just happen overnight, this stuff, especially if you're really on the other side of the curve there. You've got to change the thoughts. You've got to change the thought process. I was not always a confident person until I started telling myself I was confident. Because in my mind, I was not confident. I was not a confident person. So then I acted in this unconfident way.
Yeah. So
now I've changed that. I am a confident person. I'm grateful for when I learned that. I'm grateful for this and that. I'm grateful for the gym, grateful for Hayden to coach classes. And then you start developing gratitude as a habit. And there's loads of cool things that happen when you do that, mainly that you just feel really good. You feel much better about things. Like, I'm grateful that we live in the Witcherings, because it's bloody awesome.
It depends on what you act. Now you've got a paddleboard, and then
you go paddleboard. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then I get a paddleboard, and I'm grateful I can afford to go and get a paddleboard, and all of those things. So,
and it is the circuit.
Yeah, it's a circuit, definitely. I'll change the slide. So you can go quite, into this. Like I said, I don't usually get time in a coaching session unless we're doing, a longer series of coaching. But you can get a notepad out and you can really go for this, especially if you're struggling a bit mentally. You can, who are you? What do you do? What kind of person are you? What are you good at? What are you bad at? Are you happy, grumpy, negative, positive? Are you clever, stupid? All these kind of things. And it's kind of interesting to see what comes out of that, because sometimes we can think quite negatively of ourselves. And sometimes that really does not serve us. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. It always seems impossible till it's done. Nelson Mandela. Guy is a perfect example of that, no?
Yeah, massively.
You know, it's 90 days of training now. This guy, one of my clients, he's our Instagram, you know, hero. So you probably, if you're on our Instagram, you'd have seen him. 90 days ago, he started training with me. He has gone through the mindset change more than anybody, I think, I would say.
Yeah.
You know, like he was definitely not a fitness person. He was not anyone who went to the gym. You know, he very much the opposite. I won't, you know, he, you know, I won't go into what he thought of himself. It wasn't particularly good. So, but it started quite small. It was started very gradually, and it's compounded over time. And now he's getting like amazing results. You know, he's just redoing his fitness tests, for example, which is just great. And you know, we've got pictures of him before and after and everything. But most importantly, like the pictures don't really tell a story, because the biggest story is that he comes in smiling
every time. Yeah, and leaves smiling.
Yeah,
and his actions have been great.
Yeah,
I mean,
and he's feeling good about himself.
He's coming in early, does the warm up on his because he's wanting it, he's loving it.
Yeah,
that's really good.
Yeah, exactly. But it doesn't just happen like what, you know, the fitness industry especially is very bad at just saying to people, just get on this 8-week program and you're going to feel great. Like, just take this pill and you're going to lose all this weight. Okay, it doesn't happen quite like that. Hang on a sec. I'm just doing a webinar.
No, I'm early. Oh, you're doing a webinar?
Yeah, sorry.
Are you going to have about 5 minutes?
You can go.
No, you go about 5 minutes at the.
Sorry?
You finished?
No, I'm live.
Oh, you're live now?
Yeah.
Oh, you're doing
sorry, everybody.
When you finish?
Okay, about half an hour probably.
All right. You got a bit of time when I'm finished?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
You're early. Sorry.
Yeah, I know.
So yes, so the fitness industry is pretty bad at presenting things as a quick fix, for example. But in reality, of course, the progress is not linear. It takes time. Okay, so the chart here is from a book called The Slight Edge, which was one of the things that helped me quit smoking. It wasn't like I didn't need to take a pill, didn't need to take anything to do to quit smoking or get fit. To do my first pull-up, I remember that very clearly. I couldn't do a pull-up for bloody ages, but I just trusted the process that I would be able to do it, and I did the drills and all the rest of it to be able to get to that point. Okay, so the actual progress is very small. It's called compound interest. If you know anything about investing or money, then if you put £1 into the bank, you get 1% interest. Your next month, you don't get the same interest. You get the same percentage, but it's on the extra little 1% that you got. So it starts, and then it starts getting quicker and quicker, and you start, but it's very, 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 very slow to start with, but eventually it will speed up. The curve will speed up. And the real thing to notice, to remind yourself, is that this is everything in life. This is like all of those things. And the opposite side of the curve is true as well. You can sit around, you can Netflix and chill every weekend, and you won't notice a significant change until 10 years down the line when you're, poor health, overweight. That's why it seems to have all piled on very quickly, or it seems to have, changed very quickly. It hasn't really changed very quickly. It's just been slow, and then it just speeds up. But the good thing is that the curve can always change. Okay, so if you come and join here, I'm not going to say that in 60 days you're going to look like this. I'm just going to show you this graph, and I'm going to say it's going to be slow change. But if you trust the process, which is what we're going to talk about at the very end, if you trust the process, you will get to where you want to be. And you've just got to realize that it's going to take time. Like, I did not just wake up one day and was able to run a marathon or an Ironman, or I don't even know if I can do an Ironman yet, but I probably can. I didn't just wake up. I started running for 15 minutes at a particular heart rate, and then, and I've built that up over 30 weeks to now running 2 or 3 hours. 3 hours, I did 3 hour run the other day, and felt fine afterwards. That's the other thing. I felt really good. I wasn't even sore. But I started at 15 minutes of running. You know, that's crazy. And like Guy, the guy we were just talking about, he is starting that running. He's starting that process. He's starting the 15 minutes of running. And the other day he did an hour run. He wasn't even supposed to. It wasn't on the program. He just went for an hour of running. And this guy, honestly, he just wasn't the person who would have done that, even like a month ago, really. So it's amazing what you can do if you trust the process. But we try and, you know, we see the end where we want to be and it's so far away. And we just got to realize that it's going to be slow. And it could take years, months, or weeks. You don't know. It depends on the goal. Okay, law of attraction. I'm going to be quite quick on this, but very, very essentially is if you are positive and you practice that positivity, you will actually attract more. Like people who are positive do not want to hang out with people who are negative. It's quite simple. Like we don't want to be around people who drag us down. We don't want to be around people who drain us. But there's a bit more to it than that. Like if you get into it, if you read my other recommended book is The Secret, you can actually actively use this. And all I'll say is if you get into it, don't go like doolally and but you can use it and you can attract what you want. And if you were applying that to your fitness, then you can use it and it works really well. Okay, so hopefully we've done a bit of the groundwork now to remove limitations in your mind as to what is possible, because often people will jump straight into this setting a vision and they're still fixed in what they can do. They still think that there's limitations on what they can achieve. I can show you an 86-year-old who's completed an Ironman, and I can show you a 90-year-old gymnast. It's just what you believe is possible for yourself. Okay, so remove the limitations, create your vision, and like Nelson Mandela says, it's always impossible until it's done. This is something that I like. It's from Chinese philosophy. This is kind of like the big areas in our life that we care about. We kind of want to consider all these areas most likely when we're creating our vision. But the main thing that we're going to focus on is that centerpiece. So if you've got a notepad or anything, you want to do this at home. In 5 years' time, how is your health and fitness in 1 month's time? So in 1 month, where do you want to be? And the reason that the health and well-being is in the center, by the way, is that if you've got more energy in that box, you can give more energy to your wealth, you can give more energy to your finances, you can give more energy to your family or whatever. But if you were to take that center box away, everything else falls away as well. Whereas if you just lost all your money, you can build your money back. If you break up with someone, you can get into another relationship. If you can't go traveling, whatever, if you lose your career, you can get another career. Those things can come back, those things can be rebuilt, but the center piece is the key piece. That doesn't come back. Once it's gone, it's gone. And if it's high, you've got more to give to other people. So like I said, I've done 15 hours of training and I've got more energy than ever. It's ridiculous. I think if I didn't do 15 hours of training, I'd be bouncing off the walls or something. No, I wouldn't be. I'd have less energy, which is, seems counterintuitive, but it's true. So how's your health and fitness in 1 month? I want to see a positive statement written down here. I don't want it to be I'm not this. I want it to be I am this. In 1 month, I am doing this. Maybe it's a habit. Maybe it's I'm thinking more positively or I'm doing something. How is it in 1 year? Think back 1 year ago. Where were you? Most people were not much different a year ago. Okay, remember that slight edge. Things can happen quickly, but most of the time we really overestimate what we can achieve in a year and underestimate the 5-year one. I mean, one way around, underestimate a year. In a year, we think we're going to do so much, but we actually don't achieve much because we just potter along. It's day by day and suddenly it's a year. So we underestimate what we're going to do in a year. You can achieve a lot. And then what about 20 years time? That's always a funny one because people, typically, start working out how old they are going to be in 20 years time. And they're like, Jesus, I'm going to be 70 years old, 60 years old, whatever. But it's, it's a serious thing, isn't it? What do you want to be like in 20 years? Do you want to be crippled and in a home? Or do you want to be still able to go paddleboarding and surfing? Because again, I can show you pictures and videos of people who are 90s, 80s, whatever, and they're out surfing. And then I can show you people who are 60 and can't get out of their chair. So it's really up to you what you want to be and what you want to continue to do for the rest of your life. And I'm really into Stoic philosophy, another thing to look into. And in Stoic philosophy, it's all about considering how you're going to die. Like, do you want to die with disease? Like, I know it sounds very morbid to consider how you're going to die, or do you want to die with loads of energy? Like, do you want to die still, you die gracefully, you're able to do exactly what you wanted to do up until the day you die, whatever that might be. Okay, cool. Okay, right, so setting a goal that matters. Again, like, we've got rid of the fixed mindset. We know that more might be achievable than what we initially thought for us, because we're human beings. Other human beings have done amazing things, like they started off the same as us. Why can't we do it? Many people have run a marathon, many people have run an Ironman, like why can't you? And the goal is not always meant to be reached, it's something simply to be aimed at. I really like that, because it's really about the process. It's not about the goal. You know, we're going to set a goal now, but we're not going to worry about it later on. Like, I set the goal for an Ironman, and I knew that there might be something that happened that meant I couldn't do it. You know, I might have got knocked off my bike. I might have got an illness. And obviously we didn't know about coronavirus then. You know, can you believe that, 1 year ago? But when we knew about coronavirus in March, and we knew that there was a big chance that we wouldn't be able to do it, but I wasn't too worried. I mean, like, if I could do it, great. It's a really nice way to finish off the 30 weeks of training that I've done. If I can't, I can't. There's so many there's so many things that I got out of it, you know, so many good things that I got out of training that, you know, I'm so, again, grateful for all of those things. I think I would have gone a bit off the rails, to be honest, if I hadn't had the Ironman to train and focus on. Because almost every week, every day, people were calling me up, cancelling the membership for the gym. And, you know, that was pretty hard once you've built the business up to a certain level, and then it's like stops just almost straight away overnight. So going back to setting the goals, start with the end in mind and think big. I didn't set out to do a half Ironman. I didn't set out to do a triathlon. If you want to run a marathon, don't set your goal to be a 10K. Just set the goal to be a marathon. You know you can get there. It's slow to start with. You're going to do a 10K on the way, but you want to do a marathon. Why are we messing about with 5K as a goal? Like, guy who doesn't run, who doesn't do fitness, did a 5K in 3 weeks. Like, that's possible, you know? So start with the end in mind, think big, be really specific and clear with what you want to achieve. Like, you know, write it down, make it big and compelling. Like, make it something that you care about. You might have heard of SMART goals, you know, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic timeframes. You know, having it written down with a time frame is good, but realistic and attainable, like, or achievable, whatever it is. Realistic is so, you know, so interpretive of, you know, your realistic and my realistic might be completely different. I know that anyone can train for an Ironman in 10 hours a week, but you might be sitting there going, sod off, I'm not training for an Ironman. Now, if you don't want to do an Ironman, that's fine. I'll just don't force everybody to do an Ironman who comes in, as that would not be very popular. But if you want to do it, like, it is achievable. So it's a matter of, you know, what you believe. Obviously, when you're doing this, you actually need to go back, review, eliminate, and check your values. You need to go back and check in with all the other boxes on that, you know, on your vision, because I actually said a year ago that I wanted to win an Ironman. And now that, you know, whilst it is possible for me potentially to win an Ironman, I might not really have been able to build a business up to the same level it is. You know, I could probably forget having any kind of relationships with anybody, because that takes a lot of training. And if I want the business as well, then that has all my time taken up in the week. So you're looking at like 20, 25 hours a week rather than the 15 that I'm doing at the moment. So you have to kind of go back, check in. Okay, maybe actually I don't really want to win an Ironman, but I would like to complete one. And so there you go. So I have to come back and check in those values. Hopefully that makes sense. And by now you'll have a few little goals. There's just one extra slide that maybe I should it's kind of a little bit out of order, but I've out of the sync of everything. But I'm going to go over it really quickly because you know, it's super important. So managing your mental health. In fact, what I'll do is I'll go over this and then I'll come back to that. So the last bit of, once you've set your goals, we're going to go into the process. So this is really the key bit. So, you know, things that are easy to do, easy not to do. You really got to focus on building your process. You don't really want to focus on the goal, because you might just set yourself, I want to do a marathon. If you think every day, I'm going to do a marathon today, it's really overwhelming. If I wake up and think I'm going to do an Ironman, you know, that's really overwhelming, but I'm going to be an Ironman. Being an Ironman is about the process, the daily things that you do. It's not about doing the Ironman. So I already feel like I am an Ironman, even though I haven't done it. I know someone might be contra to that, but whatever. Like, I had to get myself into that mindset, because what does an Ironman do? Does he go out and get pissed at the weekends? No, probably not. Does he go out and do 5-hour bike ride on Saturday morning? Yes, that's what I do. Not often, but yeah, only in the, yeah, you know what I mean. So build your process, and there's some big things that will move the needle for you. You've got like your nutrition, and you just want to find one thing to start with in there. Nutrition, find a recipe, find a healthy recipe for breakfast. Do one little thing. Remember, these things are easy to do. They're just also easy not to do. We all know what to do. Mindset, like, once you understand some of these things that I've talked about today, hopefully, but there's so much more to it. Like, I've read so many books, but you've got to get it in there, and you've got to believe it, and you've got to live it as well. Like, it's all very well understanding the theory, but you've got to also believe it. Like, I have plenty of people who have a very growth mindset, but they still believe for themselves that things aren't possible. Why do you have a growth mindset? Why do you think things are possible for everyone else, but not for yourself? So you still need to believe it for yourself. Training, yeah, don't worry about what it says there. Just, you know, what are you going to do training wise? 3 times a week, 3 hours a week is really a minimum, I think, for most people, if you want to see any meaningful results. 3 hours a week is not a lot to ask for anyone. You can get up and do it in the morning. You won't even notice. Get up an hour earlier, 1 hour less of Netflix. How much TV do you watch? I don't watch any TV anymore. I ain't got time. I ain't got time to watch TV. Sleep is massive. Sleep will really move the needle for you. Yeah, don't underestimate your sleep. You need it. I know if you're a parent with young kids, it can be tough, but it really, you know, that's where your body recovers. I measure my sleep on my watch here, and if I don't get a good night's sleep, I just cannot get the same level of training in the next day. Really noticeable. Your environment, it's something that you can choose. You can choose where you live. You can choose where you work. Your environment is a third of how you feel. It's quite interesting. So, you know, your environment is really, really key. You know, are you trying to train where you work? Are you trying to work where you live? A lot of people are at home at the moment, finding that quite difficult. Try and separate out. If you can't separate out, like, put things away and then bring it back open again. So you set yourself into the right frame of mind for what you want to do. Connect with others. You know, this is also really important for your well-being. It's like the biggest factor in how long you live. So if you're interested in longevity, actually hanging out with friends is really, really important. Something that obviously people have been missing. So I have sent people to the pub before, believe it or not. You know, it's not all about just coming to the gym, just training and being a complete miserable bugger. You've got to make time for connecting with people and like hanging out. It is important for your well-being. And recovery, that sort of thing. That means stretching, finding a foam rolling thing that you need to do or whatever. Those are all the factors. Those are your process. So if you can kind of go, today I read 10 pages of a good book, I ate well, I did my training, I got into a good sleep routine, I you know, tidied up my environment, I gave someone a call, and I did 5 minutes of stretching a day. Like, that is it. That is not hard, okay? But we are so focused on the big things. It's all about the little things that add up. This very famous, you know, Sky cycling team, they're very famous for doing seriously silly little things to make it's like 0.1% improvements, but they all add up. New Zealand rugby team, also really famous for this, doing the little things that make, you know, massive difference. I'm going to quickly finish off with the stress pot then. So hopefully, yeah, by now you've got like your process, and that's really what you want to hopefully go away with. But the stress pot, managing your mental health, it was Suicide Awareness Day recently, so that's kind of why I put this together. This is something that I learned on the mental health first aider course with Alison from the Thrive team and Martin from the Thrive team. Everyone has a big stress pot. Everyone is a big stress pot. That's why I call it you're a big stress pot. We all have different sizes of pot, and we have stresses that affect us in different ways. When the pot overflows, that's when crazy stuff starts happening. Okay, so we have methods of releasing pressure from the tank, from the pot. And some of these are serving you and some of them aren't. So if you're a smoker, I used to be a smoker, so I know that often it was I'm stressed, I'm going to go for a cigarette, and it releases some stress from the pot. But obviously, long term, it doesn't really release any stress. It's actually it's putting more pressure back in the pot. Excessive alcohol. I used to drink a lot too. I'm just trying to escape from reality. That's what I was using alcohol for sure. You might have other things, drugs, overeating, nail biting, anger and rage and that sort of thing. Like, these things can turn into habits that don't serve us. And obviously, on the flip side, we can have those healthier habits, exercise, socializing, talking about journaling is something that really helps me a lot. Just getting my thoughts out of my head, especially if I wake up in the middle of the night and things are going a bit nuts. Meditation and all those sorts of things. Exercise can be used as an unhealthy thing, to be honest. Some people have been like, you know, they get too hung up on what's going on exercise wise. Just enjoy it. If you're ever coming over to Whisperings Fitness, like, the number one thing that we want for everyone is that they enjoy fitness, that they become a fitness person and they enjoy it. As soon as it becomes not fun, then it's not fun. It's not good. It's not good for you anymore. Cool. Eat nosh. Just got a little message here saying eat nosh. Very good. Cool. Right. I don't have anything else on this. Hopefully you found that useful. And I'm going to leave you with the E plus R equals O. That is the event plus the response equals the outcome. The only thing you can really control is the response. So the only thing you have ownership on is your reaction, and that will determine the outcome and determine whether you're successful or not. Hopefully that's helpful, and thanks for watching. See you all later.